Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Prize Picks video. In this one, excited to get into this Thursday night football game. We got Dallas playing against Seattle, so I think it's going to be a closer game here than Dallas has been seeing the past couple of weeks. Really the best team Dallas has played in a while. They've looked good playing bad teams, but sometimes when they play a little better teams, they can struggle a bit. So it's really important for single game slates to come up with a game script for doing these single game parlays. And we have 5 picks in this video for you guys to consider, so stay tuned for all 5. Also, I know a bunch of you guys who watch the YouTube videos are already in the private Discord. If you're not, it's less than $1 per day here on the monthly plan. You get access to 5 or more cappers, and I mean, if you got in there yesterday, placed a $5 bet on Finitti's 3-pick slip here, you would have won $25 and paid for the month on just a $5 bet in one day. So you get access to a bunch of cappers picks, including mine, as well as the projections that we run every morning based on our projection model that I built with a data scientist. So this will be linked down below. Get in here, subscribe for the month. Like I said, it pays for itself on one 3-pick slip hit on just a $5 bet. Definitely consider getting in here. And now for this video, it's going to be very important to come up with that game script. So looking at this game, Dallas are 9-point favorites, 47.5-point total. So for me, I do think the point total may go under in this. I think Dallas, even though they've been rolling, is going to struggle to score the projected 28 points in this game, and Seattle is projected to 19. I think this game total could go under, and it could be closer than 9 points as well. That's how I'm going to be building out this game script. So if you have a similar game script in mind, then definitely consider some of these picks we're about to get into. So the first one I'm going to is Zach Charbonnet, and the reason I'm going to him is because I think his rush yard is too high against Dallas, who has a great rushing defense, 48.5. Just really quickly looking at his props, he hasn't gone over this since October 29th, 47, 47, 44. And he was getting a ton of carries in this game. I think his carry load is going to be down. And just another tough opponent here. Hasn't been hitting in the last 3 weeks. Checking this one out over on Outlier, which is a great tool. It has a ton of stats. It's a great way to build out slips. They do have a free 7-day trial as well. If you use the link down below, we could see under on his rushing yards here. In 9 of 10 games this year, he's gone under, but obviously hasn't been getting the carries until recently. So we can look at the rush attempts. Last 2 weeks, 15 and 14 rush attempts. I think he's going to be in store for less than this in this game. And he's expected to get more yards than he did in both of these games, and actually more than he's gotten in any game besides just one when he got a big run here against Cleveland. Yeah, he had a 21-yard rush. If you use this filter against Cleveland, it's how he got there. His highest rush in these games were 11 and 10, so not really a big play runner. He's more of a receiving back, honestly, out of the backfield. I'm surprised they're giving him this many carries with DJ Dallas in there, who only got 2 carries last game, and that could increase, in my opinion. So Dallas is ranked 13th in the league in rushing, which is pretty high, obviously in the top half percentage of rush defenses, but apparently they've given up a good amount of rushing yards to receivers and quarterbacks, because against running backs, they actually rank 8th, as you can see here if I move my cursor. So liking this one for all these reasons. OddsJam is a great tool to check all this stuff out if you're curious about some of your picks, so definitely check them out. We'll go ahead and lock that one in for our first Seattle pick. The next pick, sticking with Seattle, we're going to go to Noah Fant. So a lot of people are really high on Geno Smith in this game on his completions and pass attempts, which is interesting because Geno hasn't been doing that good. I do like Geno a little bit, but not as much as people are liking him in this game. But a guy I do like is going to be Noah Fant here, who beginning of the year we thought was going to be much more involved and recently has been pretty good and actually has hit this total in more games than you would think. So pulling up Noah Fant here in a 2023 over 12.5 receptions, 6 of 11 games. He's actually gone over this. Was really close in this game with 9. Last game got 25 receiving yards. And if we look over here, Dallas is the second best pass defense in the NFL. So I'm kind of surprised that so many people are liking Geno Smith in this game. Like I said, I do like him to have a better game than he did against San Francisco. But due to this reason, I don't like him that much. And then something you can see here is the one position that actually has been decent against them in the receiving game is tight ends, and they've allowed the 14th most receiving yards to tight ends at 44 a game. We need him to hit over 12.5 here, so liking Noah Fant in this game. It's really just one area that they can maybe exploit this Dallas defense that they're going to be looking at. So then for the third pick, we're going to come over here to OddsJam, which is another tool with a 7-day free trial if you use the link down below. Basically how it works is they take all these player props from player prop sites. Right now we're on Prizepicks. They have Underdog, Parlay Play, Thrive, all of them up above here. But Prizepicks, their top pick is going to be Brandon Aubrey over 1.5 field goals made. You can see they just compare it to all these other sports books. Hot Streak has this at minus 149 to go over, Flip minus 140. So a lot of these sportsbooks are really liking it. And besides other player prop sites, the lowest is going to be minus 130. So all of them collectively are liking it. So we're going to go with Brandon Aubrey here. Like I said, I think it's going to be a lower scoring game, but that could mean less touchdowns, more field goals for the Cowboys. We've seen so many touchdowns from them recently that Aubrey hasn't been kicking that many field goals. So if you're looking into the data about Aubrey and seeing recently he hasn't been making that many field goals, it's because they haven't been in a position where they had to kick field goals. They just keep scoring touchdowns. So I think in this game, going with the under on points and a tighter game, Aubrey's going to hit this as well. So I like the thought process behind this bet, as well as all the other sports books really liking it. So that's going to be the third pick. Now for two more Cowboys picks. We're going to go to Dak Prescott. Dak, I think, is going to use his legs a little bit in this game. Get you the over on the rush yards of 13.5. Looking at this one for Dak, we got some really interesting stats here from Outlier that I'm going to share with you guys on this one. So over on the rushing yards, we could see in 2023, he's hit this in 6 of 11 games, which is pretty good to see. The last two games, absolute blowouts. They won by 35 and 23. These games never really close. He didn't have to run at all. So if they're not blowing teams out like this Dallas Philly, he had to hit it. Dallas Chargers, he hit it. Dallas Arizona, they actually lost this game and he had to hit it. So when it's closer, tighter games, Dak's going to use his legs a lot more. So some cool things you can do over here on Outlier is use all these filters to look at some of these games. So if we think it's going to be a lower scoring game, you can see we can change this graph to only show when the total points scored in the game was between 20 and 40 points. So in those games, he hit this in 2 of 3 games. And then if we reset this, we can go back up and hit this filter. So we can see any game where Dallas won by 20 points or more, Dak hasn't been as good. So in a game where he expected to be closer, it's definitely a good stat to see that he's hit this more in closer games. When they win by a bunch, he only hits this in 43% of times. But we can also see if they keep winning by more points, you can see this one go up. So if they win by 21 or more, he only hits this in 33% of games. And then 24-point win or more, he hits this in just a quarter of the game. So in those closer games, Dak's definitely running a good amount more. Liking this one here at 13.5. Some of these you could get a little lower. This one has been at 12.5 as well. A lot of people are picking up on this one early. I think Fant was at 11.5 earlier also. So maybe look for those lines before locking these ones in. But I still like them at these amounts. So the last pick we have for the video is going to be Tony Pollard. And we're going to go to Pollard over on the rush attempts. I think this is a game where Dallas gets back to the run. I don't think they're going to be able to just throw it all over the field in this game. Like Dak's been having all these 300-yard plus passing yard games. His prop's still pretty high in the 280 range, but I'm not going to be taking that one. I'm going to go to Pollard over on the rush attempts. So I think Dallas is going to get back to the running game in this one. Seattle, honestly, seems like you can exploit their defense any way you want. But in a closer game, Pollard, kind of similar to Dak, is going to get the ball more, down the stretch. They're not going to be giving it to some of their backup guys. They're going to be going to the guy they can trust here more to close the game out, and that's going to be Tony Pollard. Over on 14.5 rush attempts. You could see he's only hit this in 4 of his last 10 games, but basically he didn't have to carry the ball in a lot of these blowouts, like 35-point win, 23-point win, 23-point win, 32-point loss, and then a 35-point win. So when they're closer games where they need him to run the ball, carries a lot more often. And Seattle, the 20th ranked team, they give up almost 28 carries per game. And I think that Pollard's going to be in for 75% or more of these carries if this is a close game. So liking Pollard here to round out the 5 picks. So that's going to be the 5 picks for me. We only make videos during the week, so if you want picks for NFL Sunday, those will be in here in the Discord for less than $1 per day. Like I said, it's less than winning a $5 3-pick slip to join up for the entire month over here. So definitely get in there, check it out. We have cappers winning over here in all sports. Excited for another week of NFL to come up. Get in the private Discord, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys in the next one.